Nintendo Switch. Let me show you what's going on. We go over the microscope. Okay, and it's pretty clear what the issue is here. We have significant port damage. So the process for doing this will be to, you don't ever want to try to perform a power test with a port like this. You could do catastrophic damage. So the process here is going to be disassemble it entirely, pull the port, and then we'll go through the testing methods for making sure that it didn't do any secondary or collateral damage. As soon as I can start getting interrupted by my phone. Anyway, we'll disassemble it entirely and remove the port and go from there. Okay, we have the board out of the housing and I have some immediate concerns. So when I open it up, I discovered this. If you don't know the trip-up points for a Nintendo Switch, it can really get you. So I definitely want to take a look in the LCD connector as well. Make sure he didn't jack anything in that. Okay. Thankfully, it looks like there's been no visible issues in there. Good. Okay. Definitely wanted to check that. We'll get set up for the port and go from there. Okay. We are set up to do the port removal. Let me fill up my temperatures for you before we get started. While I get my equipment going here and the proper iron staged. As always, these are expected temperatures. Things could change, but I rarely change temperatures on Nintendo Switches. So switch it back to microscope. We're going to do what we always do. We're going to flood it with low melt. And we'll go from there. Okay, see how we did. No pull pads. Beautiful. Okay. We're going to want to flip the board here. Okay. So we do have some bridge pads here we need to clear. They will interfere with our testing results. Okay. All right. Switch it back to microscope. Bring in a little bit of additional light, perhaps. Okay, we'll begin testing around the M92T36. Let's make sure we're on continuity. All right. So I've been corrected. It doesn't really matter which probe you have on ground in continuity. It really matters in diode mode. So I just do red on ground just as general good practice, but not necessary here. This is the capacitor for Pi 3 USB on the other side of the board. Okay, seems good. Now we want to check the signal lines going to the M92T36. If we have two lines coming from the capacitor to the chip, one side will always be ground. But if it has one, that's the side you generally don't want sorted to ground. Okay, so far so good. This one has two, so one side will always be ground. So far so good. Very good. All right, let's move up, test around our MOSFETs. Okay, everything seems good. I'll test our little filter here. Okay, we're going to test. Then we're going to go to and start testing our, well, first we'll test our indestructible fuse. It's being indestructible. Now we're going to test our test pads. And make sure you're in G for that. This one should be ground. None of these should be. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. One of these should be. Then the battery. And correct. Okay, now we're going to test around our BQ24193. Make sure everything is still good. We want to make sure we have continuity through this filter or coil. Now we're going to check the signal lines on the BQ24193. Same rules apply. If it has two, one side will be ground. This one has two, but I know which side is the signal. So okay, everything's checking out there. Let's check around our Pi 3 USB. So you're focused down there as well as I can focus you. Okay. Now we want continuity through these, but not side to side. Continuous straight throughs, not side to side. Okay, everything looks good there. Find ourselves the ground. Check the signal side. I normally do this in the other orientation, so this is signal side for the Pi 3 USB. And everything looks good. I don't generally check everything in between. It's pretty rare when you have problems in that. These are the primary problem areas that I'm measuring. Okay, it looks like they may have gotten very lucky here, other than somebody tearing their Joy-Con ribbon. So, we will clean up. Well, having a little bit of a problem with our camera. Okay, we'll clean up and get prepped for a new port. Put a new port on and go from there. Okay, just want to do a quick test again because I had a slight little nudge. While I was putting on the port, so just make sure nothing is bridged that shouldn't be. Okay, seems all right. Okay. I'm going to clean up off screen real quick and then we'll come back for our test. Okay, let's perform a quick test and see if it behaves as expected. I'll turn on channel 1, take a look on the side that says 1. Okay, that seems relatively normal. Check the other side. Excellent. And because we have channel 2 available, might as well do a battery test. See what it does on the battery. This time we'll just activate with our charger, with our PSU rather. Okay. We're getting nothing. We have to activate with our OEM. Okay. This is on channel 2, down there in the bottom left. Okay, that seems pretty normal. Very good. Alright. So as you can see, we're showing both channels of the PSU now, and this is the reason why I want to be able to test a little more thoroughly and be able to show it to you. I don't want to have to switch out the dongle so much. So I just have the battery squid and the USB-C dongle hooked up, and I don't have to change things out. We can just use a different channel. So hope that's going to be a little more informative for you guys. Anyway, we're going to put it back together enough to perform a test, and we'll go from there. Okay, we're ready to perform a test with a known good battery. This way so you can follow along. I've got to turn off the power. Channel 1. Full battery symbol. Okay, we're fully powered up. Let's check the other side. Make sure we're charging. Fantastic, we're fast charging on both sides. Okay, we're going to power it down. We're going to assemble it entirely, at least as much as we can, because we're not going to be able to do Joy-Con tests with that torn Joy-Con ribbon. I don't have any Joy-Con rails. The shop will have to do that repair, at least at this time. Anyway, I'm going to power it down, reassemble. We'll perform the test. We'll do a dock test. And go from there. We'll have to let it charge on its own battery for a while though. All right, we'll be back. Okay, as you can see, we're back up and running on their battery. We're up to about 20%. Let's do some basic testing. Make sure we're picking up our networks. We are picking up our networks. That's good. Okay, and I want to do a quick test to make sure it's just picking up the game card. And it is. That picked up our game. Very good. And you can see it's charging at least that one Joy-Con. Alright. So I'm going to set it for dock test, and we'll go from there. Okay, as you can see in the top left, it is docking. So we're charging on both sides, we're docking, the game card reader is working, it's charging the one Joy-Con that you can see because the other Joy-Con rail is dorked and they'll have to replace that at the shop. That's really it for this one. Okay, in summary, we had one dorked up little port. Looked like it could have caused some collateral damage, but it did not, so they got lucky on that front. So all this was a basic port replacement. It looked like there was some internal damage caused by either the disassembly at the shop or by the customer, who knows. But they ripped the Joy-Con cable, so we couldn't do a full test on those, but should be fine once they replace out the Joy-Con rail. And everything should be good to go. We're docking, we're charging, and everything's testing out. So if you have any questions about the equipment I used in this video, take a look in the description below. If you like this video, do me a favor and hit the like button on your way out. And if you want to see more videos like it, hit the subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll know when I post videos, which is, right now is about twice a week. If you have any questions, post them down in the comments below. I'll try and answer what I can, or direct you somewhere that can answer them if I can't. And that's really all I had to ask of you. I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time.